In this video, we will create a new project and a new user so that we can start working in Flame. Once we launch Flame by clicking on its icon, the startup screen will pop up that shows in the first column the host computer name, which is the computer we are working on. In the third column is the name of the workspace, which by default also displays our local host computer. The workspace is relevant when working in collaborative environment with other artists on different Flame family systems, like Lustre, Flame Assist and Flare, who are sharing workspaces with each other. As we will be working as individual artists, this is not relevant to us. In the second column, we can either open an existing project or create a new one. As we are just starting, we will create a new project by clicking on New under the Project menu and fill in the details of our new project in the pop-up menu. I will name it Flame 2017 Beginners PP Workflow and give it a nickname F2017 BPPWF. It is important to give the project a nickname, as we will use it as part of the naming convention when we render our files. Volume is a designated media storage disk where the render media and intermediate files will be stored. By default, Flame has selected the largest volume attached to my laptop. Flame is automatically showing how many frames are free, how many frames are used, and displaying the path to the files. Setup directory is where Flame automatically creates subdirectories for your project setup files. We will leave setup mode set to new setups, as this is a new project and we won't have another project to copy setups from at this stage anyway. Our delivery will be in HD, so we can select the preset resolution of 1920 by 1080. As you can see, there are different preset options available to choose from, as well as the ability to create custom ones. Aspect ratio is set to 16 by 9. We will change bit depth from 8-bit to 10-bit to maintain higher tonal range of colors in our images. We will leave fields set to progressive to progressively scan non-interlaced frames of the images. Graphics bit depth should be set to 16-bit floating point to retain the highest quality of our graphic images. Config template concerns a separate broadcast monitor, which we are not using, so we don't need to worry about adjusting these settings. The frame rate should be set to 23.976, as that is the frame rate of our files. The color policy relates to the way Flame displays different color spaces in its viewports. When creating a project, you're defining color management by setting up a color policy. There are 4 preset XML-based color policies with import and viewing rules in Flame at the moment, but you can build your own to meet your specific requirements, copy them from an existing project, and configure them to be shared across multiple systems. The ACES1 color policy preset is designed for configuring a project for ACES workflow. Rule examples contains a wide range of different input and viewing rules to help you set up a color policy. The simple linear workflow is a color policy that configures the project for the basic D-gamma and re-gamma type workflow. This is also useful for projects that are mostly using Rec 709 source materials rather than camera log or raw. Flame Legacy color policy is a default setting for users who don't wish to use new color management features, but still have the option to manually assign a color space to the media. We will leave the setting on its default legacy preset for these tutorials. For the in-depth tutorials Flame 2017 color management, please watch the set of 9 tutorials by Autodesk's Grant K on YouTube. Gaussian renders is the format of the intermediate render files that we will create while working in Flame. We should leave the setting to Apple ProRes 422 HQ. Proxy Settings tab is where we set up the resolution of proxies and different quality algorithms for creating the proxies. We are not going to use proxies, so we will leave Generate Proxies by default off. If we were to generate them, we could set a condition to generate proxies, for example, if the width of the file is greater than 960. Now that we have created the settings for the project, we can click on the Create button, and Flame will create the project. We can still modify or delete the project by clicking on Edit button and selecting Modify or Delete. When Flame creates a project, it creates a number of subdirectories associated with it that stores the project's data, which becomes part of the Flame's archive when the project is backed up. We rarely need to access these folders, but on the Mac, they can be accessed via the Finder. Select Go, then go to Folder. In the pop-up menu type in /opt/Autodesk/project, click on the project we just created, and the list of subdirectories will be displayed in the project. User Profile saves all your user preferences, customizations, and hotkeys. To create a new user profile, we click on New under User menu and type in the name of the user. I will type in Claudia and give it a nickname K. The directory is already set up by Flame. Profile is by default set to Flame hotkeys, but if we are used to and wish to use hotkeys from Lustre, Smoke or FCP7, we can change to one of these settings. We leave the setting to New Preferences, as we wish to create new preferences rather than copying them from another user. Click Create, and a new user with your name will be created that we can modify or delete by clicking on the Edit button and selecting Modify or Delete. We are now ready to click on Start, and Flame will launch our project. If we wanted to switch to another project or user once we are in Flame, we can do that by clicking on the Flame logo at the bottom right of the screen and selecting Project and User Settings. In the pop-up menu, we can click on another project or user and load it. In the same pop-up menu, we can modify and delete projects, but bear in mind that you can't delete currently open project in Flame and need to switch to another one first. We can also modify and delete users. In the next video, we will have a look at the user interface. For more in-depth tutorials on the individual Flame tools, please go to Autodesk Flame Learning channel on YouTube.